If I had to build wealth from scratch in 2026, there are 3 things I would do immediately to keep more money and make better tax decisions. Because most people do not lose money because they lack opportunity, they lose it from misallocating capital, misunderstanding tax strategy, and creating tax problems they could have prevented. They diversify too early, they chase tax strategies before they have anything to optimize, and they trigger taxes they never planned for. I've seen people making $500,000, $600,000 a year still end up with penalties, unexpected tax bills, and liquidity problems, not because anything they were doing was completely outrageous, but because a few uncoordinated money decisions can create expensive tax consequences fast. The 1% doesn't just make more money, they make financial decisions with a completely different framework. And I'm Jasmine DiLucci. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and enrolled agent. I work in IRS audits, tax controversy, and business structuring every day. And over the past decade, I've reviewed more than 10,000 tax returns, and I've worked with thousands of business owners. So what I'm about to show you isn't theory. It is the difference I see between people who make good money and still create tax problems and people who build wealth in a way that actually holds up. We're gonna break this down into 3 parts, okay? We're gonna start with focus, where wealthy people put their time and money first, and then go into how they protect it, right? How they protect what they build from unnecessary risk, volatility, and tax drag. And finally, control, how they stay ahead of taxable events instead of reacting after the damage is done. Most people have the wrong priorities, okay? The 1% follows a better framework for when to grow, protect, and how to actually use tax strategy that matters. Let's start with focus, okay? Because this is where most people destroy their economics before tax even matters, okay? The 1% allocates to the highest ROI activity that they actually understand. And most of the time, that is their business, okay? Not random investments, not tax shelters, not whatever some bro is selling as a tax strategy on the internet. What people think is happening is if I diversify early and reduce my taxes, I'll get ahead, right? But what actually happens is they pull capital out of the highest return activity and move it into lower return, more complex structures that are not even sometimes legal tax positions. And I see this constantly in real returns, okay? Multiple LLCs with no operational purpose, S-corp elections with no reasonable compensation support, trust structures that don't change the tax outcome or create an even worse tax outcome. From a legal and tax standpoint, this fails for a simple reason. The IRS and the courts look at economic substance, not just labels, and this shows up all over real case law. Just like in debt versus equity cases like Estate of Mixon versus United States, the courts ignored what the taxpayers called certain transactions and analyzed what they actually were. If there's no real economic change, there's no tax benefit. And when audited, those structures get disregarded, reclassified, or unwound entirely, okay? Which means you don't just lose the strategy, you get hit with back taxes, penalties, interest, and the 1% understands this. They don't optimize taxes before they optimize income. Because if your business returns 100x and your tax strategy saves you just 10 to 30% or saves you nothing, which also happens, the math is obvious. Now let's move on to protect, because this is where the objective shifts from growth to preservation. Once the 1% maximizes their primary income engine, they diversify, but they do not diversify by gambling on high volatility investments outside their zone of genius. And they usually do not go looking for passive investments that somehow promise business level returns, because that is usually bullshit, okay? If an investment is truly passive, the return is usually lower, and that is the trade-off. And if someone is promising very high returns, then usually one of 2 things is true. Either it requires real active involvement, or you start taking a level of risk that starts looking a lot more like gambling than wealth preservation. Rich people understand that. They do not put their preservation capital into chaos. They put it in things that are meant to preserve wealth, reduce volatility, and stay out of the way of the business that actually makes them the most money. So instead, they move money into lower volatility assets, long-term holds, structures that minimize turnover, investments that do not constantly demand their time, attention, and decision-making. And they, of course, do it with a tax advantage if possible, but not at the expense of the underlying economics. And this is where I see high earners quietly lose money. They jump into high-risk asset classes and call it a tax strategy. They put money into investments that drain time and energy away from the business that actually produces the highest returns. They chase new opportunities without understanding the tax impact. And they confuse activity with intelligence, okay, which leads to weaker economics in the business, bad tax positions, lower after-tax returns, and more complexity than the investment was ever worth. And this is how people quietly create drag in their own wealth building, okay? And it compounds faster than they realize, because compounding works best when it is protected. The moment you introduce frequent realization events, high turnover, poor asset location, unnecessary complexity, and constant distraction from your highest return activity, you reduce after-tax returns significantly. The 1% avoids this by prioritizing investments they can actually hold long enough to get better tax treatment, deferral when it makes economic sense, and portfolios that do not require constant movement, trading, and tax friction, not because it's exciting, but because it is mathematically superior after tax. Finally, let's talk about control, okay? Because this is where tax strategy actually determines outcomes, and this is where most people fail completely. What people think is happening is my accountant will handle it. And if my accountant doesn't handle it, I will say it's my accountant's fault. Okay, but what actually happens is they find out a tax problem after the fact when it's irreversible and they realize that they're left holding the bag. From a legal standpoint, responsibility is also very clear. In United States versus Boyle, the Supreme Court established that certain tax responsibilities are non-delegable duties. Okay, you can hire professionals, you can rely on advice, but you cannot transfer responsibility for certain items. Think about it like you have a kid and you say, I'll just say it's the nanny's fault. But things like feeding your kid and keeping your kid alive, you can't legally delegate that responsibility. So when I see deductions without substantiation under IRC 274D, misclassified income, poorly timed transactions, it doesn't matter who prepared the return, okay? The IRS comes back to you. And this is where I see so much damage happen, okay? Because tax is event-driven, is triggered by selling an asset, taking money out of a business, structuring something incorrectly, failing to plan timing, bad documentation, and once that event happens, you don't get to undo it. This is why the 1% stays close to their tax position year-round, okay? They know blaming their accountant doesn't get them anywhere. So they review their numbers before year end. They understand where income is coming from. They make decisions before taxable events are triggered, not after, because once you are reacting, you have completely lost control. So if you zoom out, the system is simple, okay? Focus on the highest ROI first, protect what you build by reducing risk and turnover, and control your tax position before events are triggered. Most people do the complete opposite. People will chase tax strategies too early, diversify before they have anything to protect, and react to taxes after the damage is done. The tax code, of course, doesn't reward that. It rewards economic substance, timing, and control, and the difference shows up the same way every time. In the return, in the cash flow, and if it goes badly enough, in the audit. And if you want more advice on how to keep more of what you make after tax from an actual tax attorney, then subscribe.